Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff, back again with another Cricut tutorial. Today I want to share these amazing new tees from Bella Canvas. These are their Eco Max tees and they are 100% recycled and perfect for your crafting. I obviously love to craft, but one of the things I don't like about crafting is how much waste it produces. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing all about these wonderful recycled tees and also give you some eco-friendly crafting tips so that you can be a little bit better to Mother Earth while you're crafting. Let's start off with these tees. These are the new Eco Max tees from Bella Canvas. If you've been around here any length of time, you'll know I love Bella Canvas garments, and these are no exception. They are so soft. So to start off, before anything else, I want my t-shirts to be really soft, and these are super soft. Second, they are made from 100% recycled materials. And when I say 100%, I mean it. Not just the fabric, but the thread and even the tag are made from recycled materials. They make these t-shirts from the scraps of other t-shirts. So these are 35% cotton and all of those are scraps from their other t-shirts. They are also 65% polyester made from recycled water bottles. These tees currently come in white and black and this pretty navy blue, and they come in this 3001, the very popular unisex t-shirt silhouette. And did you hear me mention that they are 65% polyester? You know what that means? That you can use them for sublimation. Generally, we of course would like a higher number for sublimation, but at 65%, you can definitely sublimate on them. You may get a slightly more vintage, faded look, but people are always asking me, what Bella Canvas tees can I sublimate on? And this is one of them. So go ahead and grab yourself some of those white tees and try them with sublimation. For today's Cricut tutorial, I wanted to make a cute sort of Earth Day themed shirt to go along with this eco-friendly theme I've got going on in this video. You can grab this free Love Earth SVG in the description below. This is in my craft library and it is Cricut file number 475. You can sign up to get access to my Cricut library and then search 475 and get this file for free. So what do we need to make this project? Of course, you're going to need your Cricut or other cutting machine. You can use any Cricut to make this project because any Cricut can cut HTV. If you have a Cricut Joy or Cricut Joy Extra, you may have to slice and dice your image a little bit so you can cut each of these pieces individually and they may have to be a little bit smaller, but you can make it with those smaller machines. You're also going to need a heat press. Instead of breaking out my big heat press today, I'm just using my trusty little Easy Press here. This is the 12x10 version, but you can use any size. You could even make this project with that Cricut Easy Press Mini. You're also going to need 2 colors of HTV. I've got white and a light teal color, but I want to talk about HTV for just a second when it comes to eco-friendly crafting. So there is a standard called Oecotex, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, and that basically means that the product that is certified by Oecotex Standard 100 is safe around people and babies and everything like that. So when you're searching for HTV, you can seek out whether or not it has met that Oecotex Standard 100 so that you'll know that it's safe to work with. I went looking on Amazon and there are a lot of cheap products there that do not meet those standards. Today I'm using 2 colors of Caesar Easy Weed and they both meet that standard. It's just something to look at because you'll know that what's coming in contact with your skin is safe. You're also going to need a Cricut mat. So I have my 12 by 24 inch mat because this is actually a fairly large image. You can cut it a little bit smaller than this and it will fit on a standard mat, but because I wanted sort of a bigger image, I got my big mat out. You're also going to want a lint roller and a weeding hook. Let's pop into Cricut Design Space and set up our project. I have uploaded my SVG to Cricut Design Space. I am going to change these letters to white just so that I am sure I'm getting the right material on my mat. The teal one here can stay because that's similar to the color I am using. And then I'm going to resize the whole thing to be 10 inches wide. You'll want to resize it to whatever size shirt you have. I have a whole video on using t-shirt rulers, so I will go ahead and link that as well if you need help. But that's it. We can go ahead and make it. I'm going to choose on mat, and you can see here both of my pieces on the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and mirror both my layers here. I'm going to go back to that first layer. I'm going to click continue, and it's going to connect to my machine. I'm going to choose Everyday Iron-On as my material, and I'm going to head back to my mat. My next eco-friendly tip is that you can clean your Cricut mats. So I recently did a video where I compared 4 different ways to clean a Cricut mat, and newsflash, they all worked. They all worked really well. My favorite is Windex. So you can clean a Cricut mat and bring it back to life instead of having to buy a new one. I didn't actually have time to do that today, so I'm stuck here with a very unsticky mat. So my next eco-friendly tip is that you can use masking tape to help secure your material to your mat, giving your mat even longer life. I use the cleaning trick and the masking tape trick to be able to use my Cricut mats so much longer instead of having to replace them all the time. Let's add our HTV to our mat. So when you are using HTV, iron-on vinyl, you want that shiny side to be down. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up here with the side of my mat and press that down there. and add it to my mat. Now you can see that this is pulling up, so I am going to push it back down and add a line of masking tape here. So let's tear this off here and just add enough here so that it gets under those rollers, just like that. I also never cut off this extra roll or extra material at the bottom of my cuts. Once this comes out of the machine, I can see exactly where the bottom of my image is, and then I will use my ruler to cut right below the image, which means I'm not wasting any extra material. I'm gonna load this into my Cricut and it will go ahead and cut it. I'm also gonna cut the second roll as well because it's exactly the same as this one. It's time to weed our project, but before we do that, I want to take a look at this white piece of iron-on. So if you can see in this design, there is a lot of blank space, right? The inside of the L, the inside of the V, and that is all vinyl scraps that are big enough that I would want to keep them. I will keep anything basically over 1 inch by 1 inch because I use them all the time, especially in colors like white. So I'm going to use a combination of my rotary cutter and ruler, as well as my scissors, to basically cut out the excess here so that I can use it as scrap. It's going to look sort of funny when I'm done with it because it will be sort of these stringy thin letters, but trust me, it will lay flat on the shirt so we can iron it. Doing this may seem a little bit excessive, but honestly, this is a lot of HTV that I can use on another project. These are big scraps. So when you are making a project, take a look. Maybe there are pieces you can cut out and use later. I keep all of my scraps color-coded in a rolling bin of drawers, and I use them all the time. So I'm excited that I was able to rescue this much vinyl that I can use in other projects. Now we can weed our pieces. Weeding this is pretty awkward just because it's very curly, but it does work. You just kind of have to go slowly. All right, a little bit awkward, but we have our pieces weeded. Now it's time to prepare our shirt for pressing. So I forgot to mention in the supplies that you need a pressing mat, but if you have a Cricut Easy Press, you probably know that. So I'm gonna make this flat here. Then you want to lint roll your shirt to get rid of any dust or dander, pet hair. All of those things can interfere with how well your vinyl is going to stick. I have my Easy Press set for 315 degrees for 30 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 15-second pre-press though. This will give us a very flat pressing surface to work with, as well as remove any moisture. All right, let's work with this kind of awkward piece. The hardest part about all of this is getting it sort of lined up on your shirt properly in the right place, but honestly, it should sort of uncurl into the correct position here. You can see it's happening right there. It is sort of awkward to start out, but honestly, it's really not that bad. And I was able to rescue so much of that HTV that I can use in other projects. This looks pretty good to me. If you want, you can use a little bit of heat resistant tape to kind of keep everything in its place, but really that sticky back on the HTV does adhere it pretty well, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, I noticed here that I do have a little bit of extra carrier sheet that I am gonna cut away with my scissors so that I can press my globe at the same time. So I am just gonna remove a little bit of this carrier sheet here, just like this. Make sure everything stays lined up, and then I can also press my globe at the same time. The big thing here is that you can have your carrier sheets overlap, but you don't want your actual vinyl to be on top of another carrier sheet. So my carrier sheet ends here. This is gonna be just fine. All that's left to do is press. So I'm gonna grab my Easy Press. Like I said, it's set to 315 degrees for 30 seconds. Because this is such a large image, I'm gonna press the top half and then I'm gonna press the bottom half, both for 30 seconds. For the most part, I like to peel back my liner once this is cooled, so I'm gonna let this cool for a bit while I tell you about 2 more eco-friendly tips for your craft room. The first one is a company called Ridwell. Ridwell doesn't operate in all cities yet. It's a fairly new company, but if they do operate in your city, I couldn't more highly recommend them. Ridwell recycles things that your normal recycling company won't. This includes plastic film, multi-layer plastic, clamshell packaging, light bulbs, batteries, threads. There are so many things that they will pick up. They also do a featured category every time they do a pickup, which is every 2 weeks, and that featured category changes each time. So we have had craft supplies, sewing supplies, kitchen utensils, winter warmth, corks, bread ties, bottle caps. I mean, there have been just so many different categories of things that we have lying around the house that get recycled in our local communities so that they are not going into the landfill. There is so much packaging when it comes to the types of crafts I do: Cricut, sublimation, laser, and Ridwell helps me recycle a lot of those materials. For example, Cricut rolls of HTV and vinyl come in a plastic film. That automatically goes in my plastic film bin. A lot of my sublimation products come in this weird multi-layer plastic. That goes in the multi-layer plastic bin. If I am sewing, all of my scraps, all of the little offcuts of thread, those go in my threads bag. Ridwell is very transparent when it comes to what happens to their recycling. For example, all of their plastic film goes to make Trex decking, which is great. It's a product and it's not in the landfill. Awesome. One of the ways that I actually keep up with this recycling is that I put recycle bins in my craft room. So I have one for cardboard and paper, and that just goes out with my regular recycling picked up locally here. And then I have a multi-layer plastic bin and I have a plastic film bin. And just having those 3 bins means that I am constantly recycling instead of trashing. If I have something like threads, I have to take those into our house and put them in our threads bag, but generally most everything can fit in one of those 3 bins. And then my final eco-friendly craft tip is to utilize those buy, sell, and trade groups that are online, especially on Facebook. My favorite is our local Buy Nothing group, which is basically free stuff for everybody. You can put anything on there for free and anybody can come get it for free. I have given away so much that I don't need through that group instead of trashing it. Sometimes I get products from brands that I just don't want, and I will go ahead and donate those to our neighborhood. I have donated furniture for my craft room. I've donated projects I've made for blog posts that I just don't want to keep. I've also donated grab bags of scraps. Before I started using a lot of my scraps, I would just basically put all my scraps in a Ziploc bag and say, hey, I've got a bunch of iron-on scraps, who wants them? And within 10 minutes, every time they are gone. I was even able to give away a completely dead heat press to somebody who was able to fix it. So while I know we all create a lot of waste while we're crafting, there are some ways to be more eco-conscious about it. This is cool, so let's go ahead and peel back that carrier sheet. Because we have such small pieces of carrier sheet, they are actually very easy to peel back. It just makes it work very easily here, just like this. If you're having trouble getting your iron-on to stick, I do have a video and post all about tips and tricks that can help you with that. I will make sure to link that as well. And there you have it, your own Earth Day t-shirt. This one's going to a friend of mine who saw this one and had to have one of her own. I hope you found this video about eco-friendly crafting helpful. Definitely visit the Bella Canvas website to learn more about their EcoMax tee. Bella Canvas also has a program where you can buy their garments at wholesale pricing without a reseller license. It's called their Maker's Account. It is amazing. Again, I will link that below. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, go ahead and give it a like. If you want more Cricut, sublimation, and laser content, follow my channel. I'll see you next week.